Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you're cruising through, the distant reaches of our galaxy, hundreds of light years from home, and suddenly your instruments pick up something truly astonishing. Not just a faint whisper, no, but a powerful Earth-style distress signal. Super clear, urgent. And it's coming from a planet that appears, well, from every initial scan, to be an almost exact duplicate of our own Earth. That's precisely where our deep dive begins today. We're diving headfirst into a mystery that really challenges everything we thought we knew about life, aging, and the profound consequences of scientific ambition.
Indeed. And this isn't just, another fascinating astronomical anomaly you might read about. It's a profound scientific puzzle, definitely. And sociological one, too, kind of wrapped in an enigma. Our sources detail the Starship Enterprise's astonishing discovery of this another Earth. It's a perfect match. Spheroidal circumference, 24,874 miles, mass 6 by 121 tons, mean density 5.517, and oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, all seemingly pristine, right?
Yeah.
Yet it's broadcasting this urgent, almost desperate plea for help. And what's truly fascinating here, and, immediately alarming, is the contradiction.
Right.
You've got this seemingly vibrant, Earth-like world radiating a distress signal, but there's no direct, intelligent reply once the Enterprise respond. Not at all. It's like a scream into the void from a world that seems entirely capable of communication, but isn't. It's just not engaging.
Yeah.
So the mission for this deep dive, then, is to peel back the layers of this impossible planet. What actually caused its distress? What profound, maybe horrifying secrets does this other Earth hold? And how did a simple SOS from a world that seems frozen in time, or maybe trauma, how did that quickly turn into a desperate race against the clock for our explorers? Transforming a mission of aid into a fight for their actual survival. We're going to explore the unfolding horror, the shocking scientific revelations, and the desperate measures taken when that line between observer and victim just blurs completely. Okay, so the Enterprise. It's drawn in by that persistent, almost haunting Earth-style SOS. It approaches this remarkable planet. From orbit, it looks like an almost perfect twin of our world. Vibrant blue, green, those wisps of white clouds, radiating life. Yet there's this baffling, unsettling silence after they answered the distress call. On all frequencies, nothing. No intelligent response. The communication system's clearly active, right? It's constantly sending out the signal. But there's no intelligence behind it. No voice confirming they had the Enterprise's replies. It's an immediate, blaring red flag. Something is deeply fundamentally wrong down there.
Exactly.
And as the crew takes more refined sensor readings, they uncover something even more unsettling. Something hinting at a long-standing tragedy. Their instruments indicate that, and I quote, natural deterioration has been taking place on this planet for at least several centuries. So this isn't new, not a recent catastrophe. This implies a long-term systemic decay, an ancient illness affecting the very fabric of the civilization that was once there.
Precisely. And this is where the mystery really deepens, doesn't it? It goes from just an astronomical curiosity to a profound archaeological puzzle. The initial readings, the total lack of any human response. It led some on the Enterprise to speculate maybe there's no one alive down there. Or perhaps the distress signal itself is just an automated remnant, a ghost of a long-dead civilization.
Makes sense.
But then a landing party beams down. They're keen to uncover the source of this paradox. And what they see on the surface, it's not the green paradise suggested by the orbital scans. Not at all. It's described as an architectural nightmare. Our sources chillingly call it the most horrible conglomeration of antique architecture I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine structures from wildly different eras, right? Ancient stone, more modern steel and glass, all crumbling together, overgrown with strange creeping vegetation. It's this disquieting mosaic of decay and abandonment. So that immediate visual contradiction, this active distress signal from what must have been a tech-savvy species, yet a world so clearly ravaged by centuries of unexplained deterioration, it immediately sets this chilling, almost gothic tone for the whole mystery. It forces you to ask, what kind of catastrophe could possibly leave behind such a paradoxical scene, where the past and present are so jarringly out of sync it's like time itself fractured, leaving behind these fragments of a once grand civilization?
That initial sense of unease, that feeling of stepping onto a world caught in some kind of decaying time warp, it quickly turns into outright alarm, their first direct encounter. As the landing party navigates these eerie, silent streets, they come across an individual. This being, well, they look physically adult, but they're undeniably, quote, definitely human. But their behavior is profoundly disturbing. Dr. McCoy immediately observes them as having the mind of a child trapped in an adult body.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The individual is clearly agitated, frantically repeating these fragmented phrases like, mine, 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 mine. It's broke. Somebody broke it. Fix. Somebody please fix. It's just deeply poignant and disturbing. A human being, physically mature but mentally an infant, grappling with a broken object. They can't process the Starfleet crew being there or the gravity of their own situation. And then, just moments after this bizarre, heartbreaking interaction, as if their fragile system just couldn't cope, the individual suddenly experiences a seizure of some type. A violent, uncontrollable spasm wraps their whole body, leaving them collapsed on the ground.
And this is precisely where the medical team, specifically Dr. McCoy, provides that crucial, terrifyingly precise early clue. A clue to the horrifying truth plaguing this world. Upon rushing to examine the fallen individual, he notes an impossibly high metabolic rate. He describes it chillingly, saying it's as if it's burning itself up.
Wow.
Yeah, this accelerated internal process.
Huh.
It indicates extreme physiological stress, a body just consuming itself from within. And this leads to a rapid, horrifying death. McCoy observes, with grim precision, it died in just the past few minutes.
Right.
This rapid deterioration, this incredibly accelerated decline from distress to death, it's not normal, not natural. It's a symptom of something profoundly aggressively wrong, something consuming the body at an unnatural, frightening speed.
So what could even cause that?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? What force, biological or otherwise, could cause such an accelerated decline in a sentient being, turning them from a living, albeit troubled person into a corpse in mere moments? This swift, brutal end serves as a stark, visceral indicator of the unseen, lethal threat lurking on this seemingly abandoned planet, a threat that just claimed its first victim right before their eyes. It's a chilling introduction, really, to the true nature of this planet's affliction.
And just as they're trying to process the shock and horror of this rapid, unexplained death, they encounter someone else, another inhabitant, a young girl named MIRI. She seems like any child, playful, curious, until Captain Kirk tries to talk to her, establish communication, understand their situation. He asks her age, her response. So it just sends a shiver down your spine. It's so impossible, so out of context. It takes a moment for the crew to even register the words. About 300 years, she says, just like that.
300 years old, as a child.
Exactly, without a hint of irony or delusion.
Yeah.
But even more unsettling than her impossible age is her profound fear of the Enterprise crew. She immediately labels them grumps, that's her childish term for grown-ups. And she's constantly begging with these wide, terrified eyes, "Don't hurt me, please." When Kirk tries to approach other children, hoping to get more information, they react with extreme caution. Terror, really. They scurry away like animals, our sources describe, fleeing into the decaying buildings, completely unwilling to be approached. Their fear is palpable, deeply ingrained.
Mary's narrative, though, even delivered with a child's fragmented understanding, it immediately starts painting this tragically incomplete picture. A picture of the planet's devastating past. She talks about what she calls the before time, a period before their current reality, when the grumps, her word for adults, clearly got sick. And not just sick, they did awful things, she says, like burning, yelling, hurting people. And then they were gone.
Horrifying.
It is. This is the children's distorted understanding of a horrific plague, a societal collapse they witnessed but couldn't possibly fully comprehend. Their perspective is shaped purely by the trauma of observation, not a full grasp of the science or the breakdown that happened. It's a child's interpretation of an unimaginable nightmare, a history filtered through pure terror and, well, limited cognitive development. And this narrative immediately creates a compelling, almost baffling contrast with that initial adult creature's attack, the one that just died so fast.
Right, because Mary says all the adults died.
Exactly. Mary asserts all the adults died, yet they just encountered a physically developed individual. So this contradiction immediately prompts you, the listener, to wonder how these seemingly conflicting accounts can be reconciled. Was the creature not truly an adult? Or was Mary's memory, or maybe her understanding, just incomplete? The answer, as we'll soon learn through some chilling scientific discovery, is tragically complex. It reveals a fate far more twisted than simple death.
Okay, so the mystery on Mary quickly takes this terrifying personal turn for the Enterprise crew. After just a brief period investigating on this strange planet, a shocking discovery is made. Blue splotches, the, quote, characteristic of the unknown disease that ravaged the planet's original adults. They've appeared on each and every one of them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Every single member of the landing party, Kirk, McCoy, Sulu, everyone infected. It's a grim, just stomach-dropping moment. It instantly transforms the scientific investigation into a deeply personal, desperate fight for survival. The air must have just thickened with fear. Panic could easily set in. But then, amidst the growing dread, a critical, pivotal exception is observed. The blue splotches, the telltale sign of this deadly affliction, they've appeared on everyone, with the exception of Mr. Spock. His distinct, non-human physiology offers the sliver of hope in an otherwise dire situation.
And this exception, Mr. Spock's immunity, it doesn't just offer hope. It becomes the crucial, indispensable key to understanding and hopefully combating this unseen, insidious threat. Dr. McCoy, always quick with a quip, even in the gravest moments, right?
Yeah.
He initially offers a somewhat facetious theory. He says the little bugs, or whatever they are, simply have no appetite for green blood.
Hey, typical McCoy.
Right. It's a quick, almost humorous acknowledgement of Spock's Vulcan physiology, his distinct biology. But beneath the humor, the profound biological difference, as one character dryly points out, being a red-blooded human obviously has its disadvantages, highlights that Spock's unique blood chemistry provides an inherent immunity. This isn't just an interesting detail for a log entry. It's the singular scientific thread the medical team has to meticulously pull on. They need it to unravel the pathogen's mechanism and ultimately to develop a cure. Without Spock's immunity, they'd be completely lost. No baseline, no control group, no indication of how the disease might be resisted or fought. It's the critical difference keeping a desperate sliver of hope and a path forward alive for the endangered landing party.
So, with the disease now actively consuming them, the blue blemishes spreading visibly, Dr. McCoy, despite the shock, he springs into action immediately. His own symptoms are already starting, but his professionalism just overrides the discomfort. He meticulously discovers a veritable zoo of bacteria in the tissue samples he's managed to collect, indicates a complex and incredibly aggressive pathogen. He urgently recognizes his standard medkit, advanced as it is, just isn't enough for this unknown, rapidly evolving enemy. He needs more sophisticated tools from the Enterprise. With a desperate plea, he requests a biocomputer and a portable electronic microscope beamed down. Tools specifically designed to deal with what he suspects are highly virulent, maybe even engineered viruses. Captain Kirk, fully aware that time is their most precious commodity now, issues a strict, desperate order to the ship. Under no circumstances do I want anyone to beam down from the ship. We can't take any chances with further contamination. Even when brave volunteers from the ship's crew offer to join them, ready to risk their lives, he holds firm. No. Their survival now depends entirely on the landing party's isolated ability to find a solution on the surface, cut off from any more direct help from the ship. It makes their mission just incredibly high stakes, a solitary endeavor.
And the early medical observations from McCoy's team, even before that critical advanced equipment arrives, they paint an increasingly grim and horrifying picture. The disease's progression. It spreads real fast, he notes, with this growing sense of dread, and it covers you like anything when you're old. This rapidly advancing nature indicates a highly aggressive pathogen, one that quickly overwhelms the body's natural defenses, leading to those rapid, painful deaths they've already witnessed. And the terrifying link to old or older victims isn't just a clinical observation. It's a chilling hint.
A hint at what?
At the terrible truth behind the planet's centuries-long condition and the children's bizarre agelessness. It suggests that while the children might be immune, or at least highly resistant, the disease specifically targets mature biological systems. It triggers its lethal progression only upon reaching puberty or adulthood. This is a critical piece of the puzzle. A terrifying timer ticking down for the landing party, who are all adults and thus rapidly accelerating toward their own demise. It also definitively explains why that physically developed creature they first encountered as a victim, clearly past the threshold of childhood, succumbed so incredibly rapidly. The pieces of the planetary tragedy are starting to fit together now, revealing a designed, not natural catastrophe.
With the clock ticking not just for the planet but for the Enterprise crew themselves, a glimmer of hope appears. Fragile, but there. They discover what looks like a fully well-equipped laboratory in one of the dilapidated, crumbling buildings. It's a stark contrast to the surrounding decay, right? Hints at the past glories of this lost civilization. And there, amidst the scientific instruments and dusty tables, they find something chillingly intact. Documents. Specifically, a binder labeled Intermediate Experimentation Report Project on Life Prolongation. And another, even more specific, genetic section life prolongation project.
The smoking gun.
Exactly. This isn't just a scientific find. This is where the true horror of the planet's past begins to unfold. Reveals the hubris, the profound miscalculation, the catastrophic consequences of a scientific gamble that led to this living nightmare. It promises to reveal not just what happened, but why.
This is indeed where it gets really interesting and utterly horrifying in its implications. The documents meticulously detail the shocking original intent of the project. It wasn't simply trying to extend life. It was audacious, almost godlike, to create a new series of diseases. A chain reaction of viruses meant essentially to extend the life of the human cell immeasurably.
Immeasurably.
Immeasurably. Their unimaginable world-altering goal was for a person to age only 1 month for every 100 years of real time. Think about that for a second, you. Immortality, or at least incredibly extended lifespan, was the prize they were chasing. And this incredible, almost unbelievable ambition immediately explains the children's impossible ages. Their casual claim of being 300 years old is suddenly not fantasy, but a chilling biological reality. A terrifying, unforeseen byproduct of this failed experiment. It's the ultimate, cruelest irony of scientific ambition gone terribly, catastrophically wrong. They sought endless life, and instead unleashed endless arrested childhood, ending in a swift, brutal death upon maturity.
And the tragic irony, the very definition of a Faustian bargain, is just profound. Unfortunately, they weren't successful. Instead of extending life indefinitely, instead of achieving that biological immortality, the project resulted in a catastrophic runaway virus. This virus annihilated the entire adult population in a very short period, leaving only the children. It's a brutal, absolute consequence of a desperate scientific gamble. It transformed a quest for longevity into a mechanism for mass extinction, specifically targeting the mature population. The cure became the disease, a horrifying testament to unintended consequences.
And the critical biological link, painstakingly discovered through those recovered archives and quickly confirmed by McCoy's rapid analysis, it clarifies everything. It points to certain glandular changes which take place upon entering puberty. This isn't just a biological detail. This is the precise physiological moment, the trigger, when the planet's inhabitants, despite their extended childhoods, contract the dormant disease. This explains, with chilling clarity, why there are no adults left, only children. And it also explains why the creature which attacked us was certainly no child, but rather an adolescent, an individual who had just reached puberty and, tragically, activated the dormant lethal virus within them, leading to that rapid, agonizing death.
So that creature was basically one of the kids, just older.
Exactly. Someone who had just crossed that biological threshold. And this raises an incredibly important, quite unsettling question. What does it truly mean to be a child who is chronologically immense? Centuries old, maybe, but developmentally stunted? Forever stuck in a state of prepubescence to avoid a horrific death sentence? It's a chilling form of arrested development, both physical and psychological. It creates a society of immortal children with a built-in lethal timer on their future. They are functionally children, yes,
Right.
but with centuries of memories and experiences that no child should ever have to bear.
So on the surface, if you just think about the concept, you might reflect and see this seemingly utopian ideal, right? Children who never age, eternal childhood filled with play, no responsibilities. For a fleeting moment, it sounds almost like paradise. Liberation from the burdens of adulthood, a life of perpetual innocence and carefree existence. You could almost imagine just endless games and laughter.
But I wouldn't examine that dream too closely. It might not turn out to be very pretty at all. While the concept of eternal childhood might sound idyllic, the terrifying, brutal reality for these children is that entering puberty means an inevitable death sentence. They live in this perpetual state of deep-seated fear of the grumps who become sick, do awful things, and then die. They've internalized this horrifying cycle of sickness and death that consumed their parents, their older siblings, but they've done so without the maturity, the cognitive framework, or any adult interpretation to truly comprehend their own inevitable fate.
Do they even know? Does Mary know what happens?
Well, when asked if Mary, after all these centuries, supposes she knows about this, the chilling answer in our sources is, I don't think so. Because there's no adult interpretation. They are immensely old, perhaps, but nonetheless children. Trapped in a cycle of endless play and pervasive fear, tragically unaware that their own biological maturation is their very undoing. It's a cruel paradox. Biological immortality in exchange for perpetual infancy, with a fatal ticking clock for any who dare to grow up developmentally. It's childhood without true growth, life without a true future, and knowledge without understanding.
The situation, already incredibly tense, it just rapidly escalates from dire to critical. Just as McCoy and his team are getting closer to understanding the virus from the archives, an unforeseen complication strikes. One born of the very innocence and fear they're trying to save, the children. Still viewing the crew as mysterious grumps and their tech as fascinating alien toys, they manage to steal the landing party's communicators.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Nope. And this is far, far more than a simple childish prank. It's a devastating blow, an act of unwitting sabotage that immediately cripples their chances of survival. Captain Kirk, his voice tight with desperation, stresses the critical impact. Without them, we don't have the computers. Without the computers, we don't have a chance. The Enterprise's advanced labs, the computational power needed to analyze the virus at quantum speeds, develop a precise cure, now utterly inaccessible.
The dire implications of that act are immediate and profound. It transforms an already desperate scientific race into what feels like an impossible mission. The ship's powerful computers are absolutely necessary to isolate that virus, analyze its complex structure quickly, and develop a vaccine at a speed that could possibly match the disease's incredibly rapid progression in adult humans. Even with the archived data from the past scientists, the very blueprints of the catastrophe, their chances just plummet without the ability to process and verify that information with the Enterprise's cutting-edge systems.
They're cut off.
Completely. This is a profound, almost devastating illustration of how communication and the technology enabling it can literally be the difference between life and death. The children, in their innocence and profound fear of the grumps, have inadvertently cut off the only lifeline the landing party has. It just amplifies their sense of isolation and despair to an almost unbearable degree. It's a cruel twist of fate driven by a simple childlike misunderstanding of incredible technology.
And as the hours tick by, each one like a precious drop in an emptying hourglass, the disease continues its relentless, agonizing aggression among the crew. McCoy's initial grim predictions are being met with chilling accuracy. The symptoms intensify constantly. An intense fever racks their bodies, bringing great pain in the extremities, a deep ache in their bones, muscles, and growing fuzziness of vision. The physical toll is immense, sapping their strength, but so is the psychological one. As McCoy notes, his own voice hoarse with fatigue and pain, our tempers are growing short. The pressure, the constant pain, the dwindling time, the pervasive fear of their inevitable fate, it's fraying their nerves, threatening their discipline, their hope. They're watching their own bodies betraying them, being slowly consumed by those blue splotches.
And the ship's computer, still in communication with Spock, who remains their crucial immune link to the outside world, calculates the stark, brutal deadline. 170 hours.
Just 7
A week.
That's it. The precise, unforgiving window they have left before the disease becomes irreversible or fatal for them. It's a chilling countdown. And remember, the older the victim, the more rapid the progress of the disease. That puts the adult landing party in immediate critical peril compared to the children's centuries-long slow incubation, adding to the urgency their profound isolation. Mr. Spock, while immune, is a carrier. He cannot return to the ship. Doing so would risk further contamination to the rest of the crew, effectively condemning the entire Enterprise. They're truly, utterly on their own, trapped on a dying world with a rapidly accelerating disease consuming them from within, and their only hope, the communicators, now held hostage by terrified children.
Amidst this deepening despair, the escalating symptoms, the grim countdown, a fragile breakthrough occurs. Driven by Dr. McCoy's sheer persistence and brilliant medical intuition, even as his own condition worsens. While meticulously examining slide after slide of viral cultures, his body racked with fever, he makes a crucial self-correction. He realizes he failed to make the necessary adjustment for the slowing down of my own response. His own symptoms, the fuzziness of vision, the fever-induced sluggishness, were affecting his scientific perception, his ability to see and interpret data.
Wow, even sick, he's brilliant.
Right. With this correction, a sudden, horrifying clarity emerges, and he finds it. The disease, Captain. The one they created 300 years ago, he declares, with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. It's not a complete solution, not a vaccine yet, but it's a critical identification. The true nature of the enemy revealed. As Kirk, clinging to this newfound hope, declares, there's a chance. A sliver, maybe, but a chance.
This scientific insight is indeed vital, a desperately needed step forward in their race against time. McCoy, pushing through his own pain, recognizes the nitrogen cycle. It has to be, he states with sudden conviction. Now, this isn't just medical jargon. He's referring to a fundamental biological process, the backbone of life on Earth. The nitrogen cycle is essential for building proteins, DNA, all the crucial building blocks of cells. For the virus to specifically target or hijack this cycle indicates a profound manipulation of life at its most basic cellular level. That was the brilliant yet terrifying design of the original scientists attempting life prolongation.
Okay.
So it's a critical breakthrough in understanding the virus's core mechanism. Even if the precise dosage for a cure, the exact chemical counter, remains elusive, this highlights the agonizing incompleteness of their solution without the ship's full computational power. They've identified the lock, the general mechanism, but they don't have the specific key, the exact dosage, without those stolen communicators. It's a scientific revelation tantalizingly close to a cure, yet agonizingly out of reach.
With time literally measured in hours now, not days, and the very real threat of death looming over them, Kirk knows he can't wait. He can't wait for the communicators to be returned through negotiation or patience. He has to act decisively, even if it means resorting to an incredibly difficult, emotionally charged confrontation. He undertakes this extraordinary gamble, seeking out MIRI and the other children directly, not just to get the communicators back, but to force these centuries-old children to understand their own terrifying reality. A truth no adult has been able to impart to them for 300 years. He has to breach their self-imposed, fearful innocence.
This confrontation is, well, it's a masterclass in desperate communication under duress. A powerful, multi-pronged appeal aimed at minds that are ancient chronologically, but tragically infantile developmentally. Kirk throws every ounce of his conviction, his desperation at them, dismantling their perceived reality brick by painful brick.
How does he even start?
First, he confronts them, particularly MIRI, with the disease's true, insidious nature. His voice, though strained, is firm. He says, as soon as you start growing up the way you are, don't you know why you don't like to play games anymore? It's because you're becoming a young woman. And the moment you become a young woman, you get the disease. All of you.
Yeah.
He doesn't just tell them, he shows them. He pulls back his sleeve, revealing his own spreading blue splotches as undeniable proof. Tells MIRI directly, eyes locked with hers, look at it, MIRI, it's in you. He shatters their illusion that it just happens sometimes, asserting with raw honesty, all the time, MIRI, it's happening to you right now. Right. He's forcing them to see their own inevitable, horrifying future reflected in his own ailing body, making the abstract threat terrifyingly personal.
Oh man, that's harsh, but necessary.
Absolutely necessary. Then he powerfully connects their deep ingrained fear of the creatures, like Louise, the infected adolescents they hide from, driven mad by the disease to their own inevitable future. He reminds them of the grumps they saw get sick, how one by one they got the disease and they became like those creatures you're afraid of. He's telling them, point blank, without my help, you will become what you fear most. Your future is their past, and it's a living horror.
Whoa.
Next, he introduces a brutal, practical reality that cuts through their childish games and fears. Something even their primitive, play-focused existence can't ignore. The food crisis. The food's all gone. You've eaten it. Maybe 6 months left, that's all. And then nothing left to eat. Nobody left to take care of them. They'll die too. He paints this vivid picture of complete desolation, not just for them, but for the Lonies, the even younger children they instinctively care for, their future charges. He appeals directly to their protective instincts for these little ones, highlighting their grim, unavoidable future if the adults, the grumps they fear, fail to find a cure. He's showing them the ultimate consequence of their perpetual childhood, the destruction of all they instinctively care for.
Hitting them where it hurts.
He has to. Finally, he issues a direct, desperate call to action, stripping away their illusion of play, challenging their distorted reality. This isn't a game. There never was a game, he states, his voice cracking with urgency. He forces them to confront their own burgeoning violence, their fear-driven behavior, reminding them of the awful things MIRI said the sick adults did. Now, who's doing the hurting? Not the grubs. It's you hurting, yelling, maybe killing. He implies their current actions, born of fear and misunderstanding, are tragically mirroring the very behaviors that terrified them centuries ago. Holding up a mirror to their fear, he implores them, his voice a raw plea, let me help you or there won't be anything left of, oh please. It's desperate, raw. Forcing them to understand that their continued resistance, refusing to return the communicators, means the complete end of everything. Themselves, their Lonies, everything. It's a moment where the full tragic weight of their arrested development and its grave consequences is laid bare, making abstract death terrifyingly concrete.
Does it work?
It seems the sheer weight of Kirk's truth-telling, combined with their own growing fear as they see his worsening symptoms right there, it finally breaks through centuries of ingrained fear and misunderstanding. The communicators are, at long last, returned,
Finally. Okay, so they have him back. But even with the crucial devices back in hand, the tension in the makeshift lab is just palpable, suffocating. Dr. McCoy has worked tirelessly, brilliantly, synthesizing the vaccine based on the archives and his own insights, but it still needs full computer verification from the Enterprise to confirm the correct, precise dosage. And crucially, to ensure it isn't deadly itself, it's an agonizing choice. A true Kobayashi Maru scenario. The vaccine could be fatal, the disease certainly is. Time is brutally, terrifyingly short now, measured not in days, but hours, minutes. The risk is immense. The stakes are nothing less than everything their lives and maybe the future of this whole planet.
In a moment of desperate, heroic, and utterly human resolve, Kirk makes the ultimate sacrifice, a gamble of extraordinary proportions. He injects himself with the unverified vaccine.
He takes it himself, without verification.
He does. It's a testament to his leadership, his profound faith in McCoy's partial discovery, a leap into the unknown driven by sheer necessity. And the immediate, dramatic outcome is the proof, the almost miraculous validation of their desperate efforts. His blemishes are fading. The glue splotches, those visible signs of the deadly disease, are literally disappearing from his skin right before their eyes. This high-stakes gamble, born of desperation and brilliant, if incomplete, science, pays off spectacularly. It demonstrates both the overwhelming urgency and the stunning success of their last-ditch efforts. It's a powerful, pivotal moment, where all the accumulated knowledge, the painful scientific discovery, the desperate human will finally coalesce into a triumph over the insidious virus. It's not just a cure. It's a hard-won victory of intellect and courage over an almost insurmountable biological threat.
Yeah. Wow. Just wow. So with the cure discovered and dramatically verified by Kirk's selfless act, the resolution for MIRI's children, this centuries-old lost society, it's swift and decisive. Space Central is immediately contacted. Not to quarantine, no, but to send teachers, advisors, a team dedicated to helping these unique survivors. The immediate medical crisis for the Enterprise crew is over, but for the planet, a new, profound, and unprecedented challenge truly begins.
Indeed. It's a victory, yes, for human ingenuity and resilience. But the profound challenge these children 300 years old and more represent, it cannot be overstated. Their childlike mental state, their perpetual infancy, despite their chronological antiquity, means they need far more than just medical intervention to protect them from the virus now. They require a complete societal rebuilding. They need to be taught not just basic survival skills or how to manage their tech, but a profound understanding of their own history, the true nature of the catastrophe that befell their planet, and most importantly, how to navigate a future where they are no longer just immortal children. They need guidance, education, and social structures to grow not physically, but emotionally and intellectually, into beings capable of true responsibility, self-governance, and perhaps eventually true adulthood. It's an unprecedented sociological experiment, really, an ethical challenge of immense proportions. How do you shepherd an entire civilization from arrested development to a functional, aware society when their very biology resists true maturation?
As the Enterprise, its crew, safe and whole, prepares to depart from this world that held so much horror and so much strange hope, there's a moment of reflection, and even a bit of much-needed lightness. Mary, the young girl who first revealed her impossible age, who was so affected by Kirk's honesty, she approaches him, showing this clear, almost heartbreaking affection, a child's bond formed in crisis.
And in classic Spock fashion, providing that perfect, dry, Vulcan counterpoint to the raw human emotion. When Kirk makes a passing comment about older women and the wisdom they gain, Spock offers a characteristically logical and deeply humorous response. He says, "I never get involved with older women, human."
Perfect Spock.
It's a delightful, understated moment of human levity, a sharp reminder of the unique, often comedic dynamics among the crew, even after enduring such a harrowing, emotionally taxing experience. Brings a touch of much-needed normalcy back to a situation that was anything but. With their mission concluded and a future, however uncertain, now possible for the children of MIRI, the Enterprise is then ready to depart. As Kirk orders, warp factor 1, Captain.
So we've journeyed from a baffling, almost desperate distress signal from an apparent Earth twin to uncovering a centuries-old scientific catastrophe of unimaginable scope and ultimately witnessing a desperate race for a cure against a virus that defied the very laws of aging. This deep dive into a society trapped in arrested development truly highlights the profound implications of unchecked ambition, the delicate balance of scientific progress, and the fundamental human need for understanding and growth, even when faced with the most bizarre and challenging circumstances.
Indeed. This story forces us, you, to grapple with a truly fundamental question. What truly defines maturity? Is it merely chronological age? Or is it the wisdom gained from experience, the capacity for compassion, the burdens of responsibility, and what happens both to individuals and to a collective society when it is robbed of its capacity for true growth? Trapped in a perpetual state of childhood for centuries on end. Consider for a moment how our own understanding of childhood or adulthood might radically shift if physical aging were drastically slowed or completely halted. What profound ethical dilemmas would arise? What responsibilities would fall upon those who remain eternally young? And what complex moral quandaries might external societies face when trying to help them navigate such a bizarre, biologically unique existence, where their physical safety means they must remain forever children?
A lot to think about, as always. We hope this deep dive has given you plenty to mull over and perhaps even sparked some new curiosities of your own.